To Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I'm, of course, Jimmy, and we're proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. There's a 90-day planning session coming up in the next couple of weeks. If you're interested, I will be there because I find them really, really helpful, and they've supported the Ramble for a long, long time now. So thank you to John and the team for that. We're also sponsored by B&B Auto Centres, and as this is the warm-up, Triple Point Brewery as well. So thank you to everybody that continues to support the Ramble. It's a bit tricky because I'm sure a lot of you will have watched the Shore and View tribute to Johnny. They went they premiered at 7 o'clock, which is why we've moved our Ramble back, because I wanted to watch that, and I know a lot of you will have done too. So yeah, really, what I thought was going to be upbeat watching most of it because we were on that sort of train, and then they talked about what Johnny meant to him at the end, and it sort of threw me a little bit. And how do you follow that? You don't follow that, do you, really? So we've just got to get back into football business. What we were going to do is we're going to do a warm-up, and then afterwards we've got some Patreon exclusive shows that we do. There's 3 Mardy Blades, there's Hot Topic, the Royal Ramble coming up, which I'm yet to share details with our Ramblers on most of it, but we'll be getting there soon. But I think due to the time constraints, and just to give people a little bit of a sample as to what we do as part of our Patreon offer, we're gonna mix it up. So we're gonna have the warm-up for Swansea blended neatly with the 3 Mardy Blades. It's a bit of a crossover that we've not tried before. And before I welcome in my colleagues, I'm just going to let everybody know how they can sign up if they are interested in our Patreon offer. If I can make my mouse work properly. There we go. Join the Ramble. The easiest way of supporting us is to subscribe to the channel. One click on YouTube. That lets YouTube know that you're interested in our content. If you like the video, that tells YouTube to push it out to more like-minded people. So that really helps us as well. You'll never miss a Ramble if you press the notification bell, because it'll come up on your screen. The next thing you can do to support us is to go onto YouTube and join the channel membership. There's a £3 tier to become a Ramble supporter. For that, you get access to our WhatsApp group. There's also a £6 tier, which is also on Patreon. And for that, you become a Rambler. And what does a Rambler mean? You get access to our exclusive content, including 3 Mardy Blades, Hot Topic, and our latest exclusive series, The Royal Ramble. You'll have to join to find out what that's all about. If you want to be the ultimate Ramble supporter, you'll become a Platinum Rambler. And for that, you get everything included in the previous tiers. But you also get a chance to have direct involvement in some of our series, such as Hot Topic and The Royal Ramble. But I thank everybody for the support. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blades! It's a bit close, isn't it, that last bit? But anyway, there we go. So I'm welcoming in the rest of the 2/3 of our 3 Mardy Blades, Paul Man Mountain and Dave the Nose Leary, as he will forever be known now, I'm afraid, mate, because that's just the way we roll. And if you don't know how we got that name, I'm sure we can get into that as well, because it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, sorry about that. How's it going, boys? You okay?
Very well, very well. Thank you. Thank you, James.
All right.
Good.
Just want to pay tribute to Johnny and the video that they put together for him tonight on Shore and View.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, 100%.
Great and hard
right,
to watch in equal measure. So
yeah, it was. It's tough watch. Glad I got to see it. I know, Paul, you haven't had a chance to watch it all yet, but yeah, just brace yourself for that last 10 minutes of the video, because it's a bit of a corker. So there is, speaking of Johnny, there is going to be a minute's applause on Wednesday night for the Swansea game, and on the 50th minute. So if anybody that's attending the game can observe that and be respectful of that, I'm sure you will anyway. Johnny his picture will come up on screen, and we'll all be supporting that minute's applause for Johnny, because it's the absolute least we can do. I think funeral plans are underway. I can't remember off the top of my head what the official dates are, so I'm not going to give them out. I'm going to point in direction of Kev, and I'll try and put that on social media when I can definitely firm up dates and stuff. So, I'm just going to try and get back on track there, because, as I say, it did rock us all a little bit. But we are here to talk about this is the warm-up. I know this is unfamiliar territory for you two boys, but thank you for agreeing to join me. I think this gives people a little insight as to what they could get if they were interested in taking up our Patreon offer as well. We've recently moved this to a live format fortnightly to intertwine with Hot Topic. We'd previously been doing recorded, safer versions of Free Mardy Blades, if you like, where we can edit things out. And, you know, if you talked about Nazis or things like that, people, then you could edit it out. And
or you coming off, Bert? No, I'm all right.
I've been a sex machine with the ball at your feet. Then that's, you know, that's just things that get edited in or edited out. So while I've got you on, boys, I want your general opinion, because on 90 after 90 this week, I don't know why. I try and be positive as much as I can, and we are unbeaten. We are unbeaten to start the season. 4 wins, 3 draws, I think it is at the moment. And why am I picking holes in what we're doing? Why am I trying to nitpick after such a brilliant start? I've had a word with myself, and I've given me head a wobble. And we need to be happier with the start that we've made. It's a new team. Dave, I'm going to come to you first, mate, because you were the one that were the voice of reason in our Ramblers chat, saying that, look, we're focusing a little bit too much on where we might be falling down a little bit and not really enjoying the positives that we should be. So I'll let you take the reins to start us off, mate.
I think that if you'd have asked us at the start of the season if we were going to be where we are now, by now we'd have, bitten hands off for it. Was it four games without conceding?
Yeah, didn't concede in September. 4 clean sheets in a row.
I mean, for me, I think one of the biggest things we had. We had 8 new players in the starting lineup last time out. So you're settling a new team in. For me, the absolute biggest thing is that you're hard to beat. The worst that you can come away with is a point. And boy, have we become hard to beat. We've got a class keeper. The defence is working well in front of him. The patterns of play will come. That understanding will come. We've just got to be positive. Yeah. And I think that, and obviously Kiefer Moore's had a bit of a bashing off some. And I think there's a degree of this confidence going on there with his decision making, but people forgetting the other stuff that he does off the ball.
Oh, absolutely.
And even on the ball. So yeah, let's just, if we're not scoring goals in 10 games and we're not, we're conceding and we're not picking up points, then I'll start to panic. But I
couldn't say it any better myself, and I think it's perspective, isn't it? Paul, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
Boys, we've just left a season where no one's conceded more goals in a season where we're just shipping goals for fun, like absolute jokes. No chance of winning football matches, because when you need to score 3-4 goals to win games, you just don't end up winning games. That's as simple as it gets, unless you're in Newcastle in the 90s or something like that. But honestly, people who are bleating about it, it is a joke. The first thing you can do with a new set of players is drill them on how to defend, right? That is the first thing you need to do, because if you can do that, like, what was it? Goals win games and defenses win titles. Okay,
that's titles, correct.
That's a quote, right? We haven't conceded in 4 games. We've got the best goalkeeper I've seen at the Lane for so long. We're 7 games in. We've won 4 of them. Oh no, we've only won 4, and we haven't lost the game yet. Okay, and everyone's like, "Oh, Kiefer Moore. Oh God." Well, when he knocks 2 in, what we're going to say? Because he will, and it's going to happen sooner or later. And I thought, like last weekend, I thought I know I didn't get a chance to come on 90 after 90 because of an unprecedented in-law visit, but they played really well, Portsmouth. Well, I thought they were really, really good. I thought for a side coming up, I was really impressed with many parts of their game. And I also thought we still could have nicked it. And, they had a really good header that came up at the bar, didn't they, late doors. But I thought we rode our luck a little and we got a really good point away from home at a place where I think there's going to be a lot of points taken off what we call the bigger, better sides, I suppose. And if you look at who they've played, I think they've ran into a bit of a run of very difficult games early doors and a lot of late goals as well. My mate, who's a Pompey fan, we were messaging. He said they conceded like in the last minute or 2 minutes, like on 3 occasions or something like that, really late in the game. And that's obviously distorts the league quite a lot, doesn't it? So, yeah, I mean, they went to Burnley and nearly held them. And it was only a last-minute one where I did say to him the defending was unbelievable. Like Sarmiento could have... Is it Sarmiento? He could have had... the guy they got on the wing. I can't remember his name. Yeah.
It is Sarmiento, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was lining it up for about 15 minutes, getting that goal that he hit in the corner. But no, I think that they're a decent side. I think they'll be in the middle of the table come the end if they play like they did on Saturday. So yeah, I'm not like, boys, honestly, if we're this many clean sheets this early in the day, the defense that we've got, we're going to score goals. We've got players in the team, proven goal scorers at the level, and there's plenty more to look forward to. 2 games this week. What we're going to say if they win them 2, and they're very welcome. When they're going to win, okay. Even if we took 4 points, would we be unhappy with it? I think obviously we'd love 6, but if we take 4, would we go, oh, we should have won that. I don't know.
2 points a game, innit?
Well, 2 points a game, that's right. And yeah, I'd love to get 6. I'd love to make a statement and go leapfrog a couple of teams and go to the top 2 and top 1 or whatever. But we've already seen.
I'm going to ask you this. Sorry to interrupt you, pal, but that was part of my rhetoric, really. I do agree with you. I agree with you both. I think any sort of negativity about our start is ridiculous, really. I think I've posed the questions in terms of a little bit of devil's advocate. But having said all that, and we need to park that just for a second, just for me to raise this next question, we have yet to play any of the big sides in the league. Would be probably fair to say. Who's our toughest game we've had so far? Maybe, well, Hull. Yeah, we've not really had a tough test yet in the league. And whilst we've dominated most games, or been on top most games, you would probably say, that's not been matched up to a team like that's fixing to go better in the league than the teams we've already faced. So while Portsmouth have had an unfavourable start, you could argue that we've had quite a favourable start. We've now got Swansea at home on Wednesday. We've got Luton at home on Saturday. Luton, who have had a really sticky start to the season, looked like they lost Mengi to injury last game, looked like they might have lost Chong to injury last game. Do we need, if we are going to go up automatically, and that is what we're aiming for because we don't want to go anywhere near them playoff spots, if we're going to go up automatically, do we need 6 points out of these next 2 games? Because after the international break, we come back to Elland Road, don't we? And that is a tough game by anybody's standards. As much as we'd hate to admit it, that is a tough game. So we can't be going there expecting 3 points. We'll obviously be wanting 3. We'll take a draw now. Do we need 6 points this next week, Dave?
No.
So you'll be okay with 4, like Paul was saying, and it's a genuine, there's no right or wrong answer, is there?
Yeah,
you'd be happy with 4 points this week.
Look, you want 6, but we know this is a marathon, so it's about continually chipping away at it. It's not, it's not going to be. I don't think there's anybody that's going to go and run away with it. Looking at how things have started, and we just need to keep chipping away, picking those points up. and then stay in the mix, ready for Christmas. And then I think it's the post-Christmas bit where the pace starts to pick up a bit. I think if we get 4 points, we're good. I think if we go to Ellen Road, we pick up a point. It's good. And let's just keep.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with a point at Ellen Road.
Nice and settled. You can easily get ahead of yourself if we get 6. You can also easily panic if we get 2. And I wouldn't.
I'm glad you wouldn't, because I probably would. And that's how daft it gets.
It would be 9 games in. I
know. And you don't even look at table. You were right in chat. 10 games, you can't even look at the table till 10 games. That's the rule. Everybody knows that rule. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Apologies, Mr. V. I know you think dropping down to 6th is a bit of a nightmare, but I get it. I feel like we've got such a good opportunity this season to go up, and I'm so excited. And I am playing devils a little bit because I'm enjoying watching us. I do think we've every chance of getting promoted this season. Paul, you've been leading that from the front. Andy the Blade wanted me to say that he agrees with almost everything you're saying at the minute, and he wants it known and noted on the Ramble. So, evening, Dad, that he also believed before the start of the season that we'd go up. So he's on the mountain train. You've
Does
been
he also
well
think that Michael Cooper's the best looking goalkeeper that we've ever had? Or
he hasn't. I'll be honest. He hasn't given me opinion on the aesthetics of Michael Cooper, but I can ask. It'll be a Ramble exclusive when we get.
We all want to know, don't we?
We do all. Of course we do. That's why you tune into the Ramble to hear whether Andy the Blade thinks Michael Cooper's a stud or not. But that's by the by. What do we think, Paul? What do we think, mate?
Yeah, mate. I told you already. It's his jawline, and it's the.
Oh, I know. I saw.
I'm joking. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did, Dave. We saw it together, didn't we? We saw it together in the.
Take a picture with it, please. We take a picture. You take a picture. Thank you.
Yeah,
careful, Dave. Careful. He might fire back.
He's jealous.
He will.
Jealous. No. No. So yeah, obviously 7 games in, and yeah, it's a fantastic start. You can't expect everything to click straight away. The defence has clicked straight away and the goalkeeper's clicking straight away. And as long as that continues, we're going to be in every single game and no one's blowing us away. And we're going to be competitive in all those matches. And I do think we've got enough at the top end of the pitch to score goals. And like I say, with a striker, sometimes you might need 1 or 2 to go in off his forehead or off his arse or whatever you need, but he'll get goals. I think he'll score goals. I thought Ty Campbell came on and Brewster. He had a little run, didn't he, Brewster in the number 10, and sort of laid in Ty Campbell, who hit the target, forced a good save from their keeper as well. Yeah. And that's encouraging. You got to hit the target to score a goal, and he did with the one chance that he had. So
I wanted to ask about Campbell because I didn't get to see the game. So yeah, I'm glad you brought him.
Yeah, he made a really good, well-timed run off the back of the last defender onto his favoured left, and it was a good ball from Brewster actually, slide rule, and then he went across the goalie as you want him to, and the goalie stuck his leg out, made a really good save. So he could have easily scored. What would have been,
I thought it looked sharp. I thought it looked
decent when he came alive. And he's only going to get better. He's only going to get sharper. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how that goes. And I'm not worried about it. He's been at the level a long time, and we still might be waiting forever for Brewster to click. But I think we've got enough goals in the team. If you look across that front three, O'Hare, who's used to scoring goals at the level, Hamer, who's probably the best attacking midfielder in the division, and Ratsaki, who I've been saying let's stick with, was the most dangerous player for us on Saturday. He was certainly the most dangerous player on Saturday, and I was really scratching my head when he took him off. It had to be a fitness issue or something to do with that, because I thought he was the man that was going to unlock the door.
I think Clark is got it nailed, and I think a few of us have moved to the similar sort of thing with the fact that Gilchrist isn't doing a full 90 at the minute. and he's a very sort of assured defender. We're comfortable with him in at right back. When you take Gilchrist off and you bring Sariki on, I don't think Raksaki and Sariki can play together because Raksaki doesn't do as much defensively as you'd like him to. I'm not going to go in for him like I have done previously because I haven't got the volume of data to say he's not going to do that. But you think he's very focused on the attacking third, Raksaki. Sariki is a very attack-minded fullback and sometimes will take a risk and pull himself out of position on a run or whatever it might be. We could be exposed if we don't have Andre Brooks, for example, to drop back in and cover when Sariki's going forward. So I think I think it'd be rare that we see Sariki and Raksaki together. So if Gilchrist can't make a 90, or Wilder doesn't want Gilchrist to do a full 90 at the moment, I think Raksaki will be coming off at a similar time. And it was Clarkey that raised that in chat, and I think that's fair and it makes sense to me, and I think that's probably about right.
Yes, it's a fair point. I think that Sariki, I have to give him a mention because I think he's going under the radar of all our young players that have been coming on and doing a really good job. I think he looks a weapon, Sariki. He's a real proper athlete. You can tell by his build and his pace. If he sharpens up his final ball and he learns, I think he can teach people to be good defenders. God, we could have a hell of a player there in him and learning from good lads around him as well. Listening to the lads in the back four with a bit more experience and the goalkeeper. I think Sariki's could be a real bright spark for us this season.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to jump into some comments now, lads, because I don't want anybody to miss out. Just we've changed the format on them a little bit, or I've changed the format on them a little bit. So Lucas starts us off. Hi, Jimmy. Hope you're doing well. Random question: who's your favourite player in the squad? Mine is Michael Cooper currently, which will come as no surprise to a lot of people. Ollie Arblaster. It's a toss-up, to be honest, between them two. But I'll go if you're nailing me to one, then I'll go Cooper. Paul, I'll come to you, mate, because I've been going to Dave first quite a bit. But
well, you've nicked my stat, my man, haven't you? But I'm saying Blaster just because I think he's got the levels to go and keep going. Okay,
Dave's pondering this one.
I'm going to say Gus, just to be different, I think.
Okay.
I think he's our little diamond.
Yeah, he is. He is. What a player. And not many are going to disagree with them, to be fair. Hi, Jimmy says, Rob, I know CW will not do it, but I think this would be a good game to drop O'Hare and put Brooks on the left wing and Hamer at 10. Centre mid is put here. There's been shouts for this, and something we're going to mention briefly, because we'll go to watch your team in a minute, but Vinny Souza is one yellow card away from a suspension. Now, I don't... we've got Sidney Peck, who's covering currently for Arblaster. If Arblaster's not back and Vinny Souza's suspended, we could be in a bit of a sticky spot. I think then you have to move Hamer back into central defence and put Brooks and Raksaki on at the same time.
In midfield,
in midfield. So what are you doing with O'Hare? Because I didn't go in on him, but I think he's flattered to deceive at times. I love that we've signed him. I don't think it's a bad signing. I don't think anything daft like that. I think he will prove to be a really good player for us. But I think he's been like the Hollywood signing, if you like, of the window. And I think other players have done a bit better a job at sort of staking their claim. It's a tough one, really. I wouldn't mind seeing O'Hare on the left and Hamer in the 10 and seeing how they do from different positions. But are you two at a point where you consider changing it up and O'Hare coming out of the 11 and maybe coming on at 60 minutes? Dave?
I was just thinking O'Hare on the left. I'm not convinced. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
But would you be convinced by Gus? And you look at his output and he's done phenomenal, hasn't he, really, on the left. He's not a left winger by any means, but he's done really well as a left forward, if you like.
I mean,
but we're just trying to look at ways we can break that cycle of creating chances, but not quite being clinical.
But how do we get it to work and gel if we're going to start taking him out of the team?
Yeah, I agree. I keep him in personally, but there are
we know his quality, so. surely it's going to something's just going to the understanding's going to come with him and
More.
And Kiefer Moore.
Okay. So you're persisting at the minute with Cal, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I think these questions will get answered because when there's 3 games in a week, I think you're going to see people pick up knocks. You're going to see people get tired. He's going to rest people. That's why you have the squad in the first place. And I said to you the other day, I don't think there's anything wrong with Brooks being the fourth of the 3 across the 2-3-1 if you want. I don't see anything wrong with that. The same way I don't see anything wrong with putting a left footer on the left wing and a right footer on the right wing, and I just feels like they can probably do it all. You could probably play Raksaki in all 3 positions. You could certainly play Gus in all 3 positions, possibly Cal O'Hare. I mean, and all of them. You know, I don't see any reason why they can't interchange and try different positions. You know, the left.
I think Brooks has proven that he could probably do a job in all 3 now, hasn't he? So
I would say so. I think Brooks, you probably want him one-on-one, don't you, out wide if you can.
Yeah.
It gives you that. It gives you that 1v1 sort of, and maybe his touch through balls maybe not as what's the word? Deft. Is that the word?
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, maybe he's not quite got that little, I don't know, the ingredient, which the way to pass sort of thing. And it's a slightly different skill set in the centre, I'd say, than it is out wide. But yeah, I mean, I think we might see variations on that all season, and I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem if O'Hare was dropped next week. I don't think that'd be O'Hare dropped for 5 games. I think it'd be they'll rest him for a game, put Brooks out
rotation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course, and I think you need that, and I think we'll see more of it. I think he must be trying him in different places in training. We don't really get privileged to see that, but it's I'm sure that they could all interchange and all do a decent job in all those positions.
We've also got Shackleton, haven't we, who can play. If we lose, if we do as expected, if Vinny plays on Wednesday night, probably picks up a booking, and he's out for the weekend, or he's rested, we can put Shackleton in alongside.
I've not even thought of Shackleton. You're right. Because I'm thinking, well, Tom Davis is out. You'll naturally move Hamer back. You could even put Brooks in there as a. I'd prefer him out wide, like Paul says, because I don't really like Brooks in a 2. But yeah, it's all options. I suppose it's a prime time to ask, what's your team? Okay, boys. So this is obviously something I do every time on the warm-up. And usually, at the moment, the team's picking itself. There's only one position, really, that's up for grabs. And I think, like Paul touched on very briefly, Jez did enough last week to keep his shirt, I think. I don't think anybody will grumble. I have been campaigning for justice for Andre Brooks. However, Wilder persisted like we thought he would do. This is more a case of what you would like to see rather than what you think Wilder will do. But obviously, the rest of the team picks itself for those that can't see it, because we may well be on podcast if that's all sorted out by now. It's Cooper in goal, Gilchrist right back, Burrows left back, Suter and Anel in the middle, with Suter on the right-hand side of that, Peck and Souza in the middle, O'Hare in the 10, Hamer on the left, and Raksaki on the right, with Kiefer Moore up front. And I think I've been calling for Brooks. I think Wilder more than justified. Paul, you've been saying stick with Raksaki. There's a reason we've brought him in. His reputation, speaks for itself, if you like. I think that will be the team on Wednesday night. Should it be the team? Just because it's our strongest team, you've talked there about rotation. We've got Luton 3 days later at the Lane. Does he look to rotate a little bit, or do we just, because there's an international break coming up after Luton, do we just go pedal to the metal and just bang straight through, stick with your strongest team? And because it were 0-0 last time out, but that's our strongest side that we can put out at the minute with our Blaster injured. Is that what you're sticking with, Paul?
Well, it's what he'll play in my brain, but I would not object to putting Brooks out wide and putting Hamer through the centre and giving O'Hare a rest and then perhaps saving some fresh legs for the weekend, giving him 20 minutes on Wednesday. But Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends. I think that Hamer offers you something very different on the left to what Brooks would. In terms of if you've got a defender like, I don't know, maybe Carl Norton, who's a Swansea player. I think he was playing centre half last time I saw them play. But if he was out at right back with his aging legs, I think Brooks would be a total nightmare for him and be very difficult to. And it kind of depends what you're up against. Again, like what we've said, I think Brooks offers you more defense. He's really, really good on the press, Brooks, and he's really good. He's quite wiry. He's hard to beat. If they've got a fullback that is either lacking a yard of pace or someone who likes to get forward, it wouldn't be a bad option to play Brooks. I think we'll see Brooks a little bit more in those bigger games you were speaking about against the likes of the Burnleys and the Leedses, etc. Because I think he just gives us that little bit more protection than the other guys. Hamer, O'Hare, who is still good on the press, by the way. I keep seeing him trying to nip the ball, and he has done that for us already this year. But I think in those wide positions, I think Brooks does give us that little bit more protection. And I think against, again, the right kind of fullback, he could be a right weapon, to be honest. That's what I think.
I agree. So you think he'll play the team that I've put up, but you wouldn't be against Brooks coming in for O'Hare and switching Hamer to the 10. Dave, what's your thoughts, pal?
My view in this situation where you've got a team that, let's say on paper, I know the league hasn't worked out that way yet, we've got the stronger opponent on Saturday. Yeah, I still think you approach it with the game that's in front of you and the best team to have the best chance of getting a win out of Wednesday. Because if we play a weaker team and we walk away with a point, then we're under increased pressure on Saturday to pick up more. We pick up 3 on Wednesday, could potentially be more than if we draw, and then we only get another draw at the weekend. Yeah, so I'll be thinking about it from a points perspective. Go and get 3 points. We'll worry about Saturday when Saturday comes along.
Strongest team, no messing. That's what you go with.
Again, I don't know if it's you never know if it's the strongest team, and I don't think changing one player makes it a weak team.
Look, that's not necessarily what I meant in terms of all your points you made about Brooks and moving. I get it. I'm saying pick the team that we think is going to give Swansea the most problems. If that's putting Brooks in there, put Brooks in there. If we're going to give their fullback a hard time, let's go and if that's their weak link, let's go for that. Let's do that, not thinking, well, we want to save them for Saturday. Does that make sense?
Well, the only bit of prep that I did do for this was look at Swansea's team last time out, and from Sky, this is just so it's not always reliable. We've seen some of the graphics that they put up on a match day, and I think they had Sidney Peck playing up front for at one point, but they had Kyle Norton. They had Swansea playing a 4-2-3-1 like we do, and they had Kyle Norton at right back. So if that's going to be the case, that matches up to what you're saying, Paul. It'd be nice to have a runner at Norton. My dad suggested maybe even putting Campbell there as a sort of inside forward who can chop in and cause some problems. So,
or McCullum.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've seen that before. Like that. Yeah, we're trying whether Burrows goes to the left wing and McCallum left back, but I think we've settled more on McCallum being further up the pitch and having Harrison Burrows as an attacking left back. But there's options there, isn't there? It's what you've touched on, Paul, before. Whether it's been on Marty Blades or in chat or on 90 after 90, it might not look like we might have 14 or 15 very good players, which might give you some concerns in terms of depth. But they are quite flexible in what they can do as individuals. So actually, we've more cover than we think we have in certain areas. So like Ty Campbell can go left wing or up front. He might be able to play a 10. We don't know that yet. You know, Shackleton can come into centre midfield if Vinny gets suspended. I'd completely forgotten about Shackleton because I've got him in my head. He's back up at right back if we need any, because I think that's why he's been brought in. But Sariki's now doing a great job when brought on, and he's probably in front of him in right back position. So there is a bit of depth there. They're not in the first team for a reason, like your Shackletons and your McCallums, but they've done more than a grand job when called upon. And I agree. I think we go full strength against Swansea. Paul, I'm not going to let your research go to note, mate. You've done a little bit of digging on Swansea, and I'm not going to wrap up before I let you tell us a little bit about what we're going to be facing on Wednesday night.
Well, yes. One of us did a bit of homework, like I said, but
one of us. Paul's the professional one of the three, and that's fine.
So Swansea doing rather well, because I'll be honest, at the start of the season, I had them and the two Cardiff and Swansea, the two Welsh teams. I looked at them and thought, oh, they look like they could struggle this season. But Swansea made a really good fist of it. So they're ninth in the table at the minute. They've had 3 wins, 2 draws, and 2 defeats. 2 defeats come in at West Brom losing 1-0 and Middlesbrough away losing 1-0. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
They've had a convincing 3-0 win against Preston. They beat Norwich. They beat Cov. And they've drawn with Bristol and Cardiff. And the Cardiff one, you put that down to a derby and you never know draws are often the outcome of those, as we know. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good start for them. And I was looking at a few of the players that we might have known. Obviously, Carl Norton being an ex-Blade. And we've already mentioned Joe Allen, who's everyone knows, obviously, he's been around a long time, experienced player in that league. And at this level, never relied on his pace or his legs. He's a quality operator and has been for a long time. And Grimes, who's their skipper, who we looked at in the summer as a potential somebody that we were looking into signing. So they've got a top scorer who's Cullen, and he's got 3 goals, but there's a fitness doubt about him. I think he's been poorly. So he thinks that they're hoping, the manager was hoping that he would be fit for playing Sheffield United. So, well, we'll see about that. And the manager is a guy called Luke Williams, who I wasn't overly familiar with, so I had a little dig. He got Notts County promoted and has been promoted to get the Swansea job this year. And he was assistant to Russell Martin at MK Dons before as well. So he's quite a young manager, not had many clubs. I think he's quite straight talking, looking at his last interview. So yeah. And what's his name? Ben Cabango, just because he's got an ace name. We have to mention
Ben Cabango. And Harry Darling. Harry Darling is his centre-back partner. So Harry Darling. That's
Blackadder,
absolutely.
the older one.
So that's who Kiefer Moore's going to be beating up on Wednesday night. So that'll be good to see when he's got his head wrapped in something, because he's in the wars like he usually is. I'm going to try and get through some more comments now before we wrap up, lads. So Ian says, evening, Jimmy, 3-game week. So I wonder if Wilder will make a couple of changes. Wouldn't be against Brooks for O'Hare and Brewster for Mott. He loves a bit of Brewster, does he? Doesn't he? Whatever the team he puts out, I predict a 3-0 Blades win. Up the Ramble, like and subscribe.
Ian banging his Brewster drum, never fails.
I know. He's chief of the Brewster fan club. Scott says, evening, Jimbo. Hope you're well. Raksaki and Brooks on the wings. Hamer as a 10, like Paul were suggesting. O'Hare off the bench later for me. Keep the rest the same. Would like to see Campbell off the bench a touch sooner too, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yeah, I don't think many would be upset to see that either, Scott, to be fair. Jack says, evening from Turkey. Oh, you're a good time, pal. Hope you're well. Think this will be a good game for us to pick up 3 points up. So definitely need to start seeing more in the box. And we seem to be wasteful in midfield as well. Also, I've noticed we seem to be making it harder for ourselves. We aren't passing on the wing and playing the balls into the box for someone to run onto. Don't see anyone making those runs. If you watch other teams, we shouldn't compare, I know. But when they get the ball, they burst forward, get the ball on the wing, and then get it into the box with 2 to 3 players going into the box. I haven't seen those deep runs from O'Hare. And I was talking to my dad about this at weekend. So you've seen a lot of balls fizz across the box when we're breaking quickly, and I understand that. You'd like more to be in there. I think some of them have either been more doing the crossing or more in front of the play, which is either on Moore to time his runs better, or it's on the wide men to find him. There's nobody else really that's busting a gut to get in. And I understand we're playing with sort of 2 holding midfielders. So there's a big emphasis on Callum O'Hare and whoever's the opposite side on the wing on getting in as well and causing some chaos in the box. So do you want to come in there, Paul?
I'm sorry. I just fully agree with what you just said there, because I think when we get the ball wide, and it's usually Hamer that does a lot of the crossing, or Aksaki. Hamer likes to hang around on the edge because we know we can hit a banger, but we like he says, we've got to commit a few more people into the box, and sometimes we've got to do things a little bit quicker. I haven't seen us really catching any teams on the hop and sort of playing those quick balls around the corner into the box for someone to get on the end of. So completely agree with that. I think if you're going to play the 3 and the 1, you've got to have the guy on the other side, like you were saying, Jim, has got to go in and join in and get round the back post, because a lot of balls go there. Loads of balls just fizzle through to the back post. And you always think, it was there. It should have been there.
Is this the problem sometimes with opposing an inside forward? So a left footer playing across off the right wing, the direction the cross is going to go to, and vice versa.
Possibly, because it'll come across the body and they're on the weaker foot, aren't they? Yeah,
that's one thing that Brereton Diaz did well.
Yeah.
One thing Brereton Diaz always did well was those outside to inside runs and getting in the box at the far post.
You're relying on someone getting to that far post and the ball missing everybody on the way in, aren't you? But like you said, Hamer's not gambling, but similarly, Raksaki's not. Well, I didn't see it, but let's say in the games before, he's not gambling on it going.
True, yeah.
Reaching in the back post.
That's right. I know O'Hare. O'Hare as the 10 should be in and involved most times as well. So
yeah, I think he's waiting to come in for those little flicks and things off the edge of the box rather than making a run towards the hands going everywhere.
That's right. That's right. He's a flair man, isn't he? He's a creator rather than a finisher. But I'd like to see him in boxing and just causing a bit of chaos, causing a bit of confusion for the centre halves when the ball's alive and stuff. So I don't think it does any harm. Blaster breaks the lines, so it's easier to find O'Hare and Gus. I think that's a fair point. We mentioned on 90 after 90 as well that we're missing Blaster in that respect. Without him, we play flat, side to side more. Pecky's busy, but we don't play through the lines. O'Hare is off it, but we aren't helping him either. Fair that. Evening, Jimmy. Brewster has to start Wednesday, and Brooks and Sariki deserve more minutes, says Beast Boy. Another huge Brewster fan and not a fan of Moore from what I remember. I've said time and time again, Moore isn't good, and he's not proving me wrong. Something needs to change. I see it. Listen, mate, you're more than entitled to your opinion. I see it differently to that, I have to say. I think he's working very hard, and I think some of his stuff don't always look... you don't always see it unless you're looking at him. And with me and my dad being so pro Moore, we're often looking at him to find positives in his game, and there's a lot. He does work hard, and if you look at the goals that we've scored, he's probably been involved in 50% of them, I would say, whether it's a direct assist or the one before the assist in the build-up. So he's certainly, as long as like Dave was saying earlier, as long as the team's winning, it don't matter who scores. It's nice to see your number 9 being the one to finish off a nice bit of intricate play, but it don't have to be. As long as it can go in off Raksaki's backside for all I care. As long as it's going in, I'm not bothered. Jack says, I think we've a really good squad and there's loads of positives. Our defence is like a brick wall. It's refreshing to see. I don't close my eyes when we're getting pressured. I agree. Gary says, hi, Jimmy. What's going off after the final whistles are being blown? Seems to be getting involved. Yeah, talk about a Royal Ramble. They're all fighting, aren't they? After the final whistle's gone off, seems to be getting involved. Another booking on Saturday, potentially another fine. I'm all for the fire in the belly, but come on, up the blades, up the Ramble. Yeah. I have to agree on this point. I was... not a huge proponent of it, but when it first kicked off, I can't remember who we were against, but it first kicked off, I was like, this is good. This shows a strong team spirit. It shows that we're all willing to fight for each other, not necessarily literally, but we're all in and looking after one another and we care. And I don't mind it. Everybody quite likes to see a bit of a rumble on pitch, I think. But this is like third or fourth time now, and it gets to the point where we're getting fined, and we're going to get fined more money every time it happens. And you don't want it to come to a point where, you know, the EFL or the FA think we're bringing the game into disrepute. You want to make sure that we are staying on the right side of, you know, the good graces, if you like, in a way. Lads, are you concerned about the scraps after the whistle at all?
What's the first thing you'd tell your team to do if you're playing us at the minute?
Wind them up. Of course it is. Yeah. But I mean... Vinny Souza wears captain's armband, and that's another conversation altogether. But that you don't lose your head like that if you're captain. He should be pulling players away rather than getting pulled away himself. Chris Morgan were always first. I always remember that documentary, that Warnock documentary at Millwall, where Muscat's gone for Paddy Kenny. After it's kicked off, Morgan wants to be in and he wants to be involved. but he's not the one to start it. Well, you wouldn't start on Chris Morgan anyway, would you? Let's be right. But it's knowing. It's having a little bit of common sense. I mean, you can't have people pulling your captain away because your captain's lost his head. Yeah, well, I could talk about Vinny Souza being captain. I like Vinny Souza. I think he's done a brilliant job in terms of turning people's opinion, and he looks very good at the level. I'm still not 100% convinced by him, and I don't think he's a captain. But I understand why he's been given the armband. So, any thoughts on that, Paul?
Yeah, well, the armbands, I think sometimes the armband isn't necessarily for the most worthy candidate. And sometimes it's about getting the improvement out of the person you're giving it to, if you understand what I mean. So there's no doubt in my head that Harry Souttar would be a far more suitable candidate, should we say. But will it make any difference to Harry Souttar? Probably not. Will it make a big difference to Sousa's mentality? Is he a bit more prone to having good and bad games, and does it try and get the best out of him potentially? I think it's probably quite a smart choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Rather than necessarily the best choice.
Wilder said as much, didn't he? I don't know if you saw interview afterwards. He said, I thought about Harry Souttar, but Harry Souttar don't need it as a leader without the armband.
Right, yeah.
And then he said, which it fits exactly what you've said, and it's right. He don't need it, does he? I suppose.
When they were kicking off, and you and Dave were saying about it a second ago, I was watching it, and I was watching Wilder's response to the action, should we say, that was going on at the end of the game, and there was he was just like just walking on.
He was smiling.
He was smiling.
I'm sure he was smiling at one point,
shaking other players' hands. Well, Alan Neil was marching over, and then I saw him shout "ow, ow" like that, and it was. I think he was just letting them get on with it. Because, like we've said before, I think he likes the fact that the young lads are growing into themselves and aren't scared to like, they're not going to be intimidated by anybody. And I think he sees it as a bit of a positive that they're doing that. Obviously, if it goes too far, they get a red card. We'll all be annoyed at him, and he'll probably be annoyed at him as well. But showing that passion, would we have had Vinny Souza? Well, I was begging for Vinny Souza to go and smash somebody at any point in the Premier League, and now all of a sudden he's walking around, sticking his chest out. He's part of it all again. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's necessarily. I don't think Wilder sees it as a bad thing. He'll see it as a bad thing if they start getting sent off and getting buddy suspended, etc. And he'll tell them they've gone too far. But bit of fight. It was handbags at 10 paces, weren't it? When you watched.
Yeah, of course it was. And it has been all the way through, hasn't it? But it's just it's what you get. What the repercussions are, really. Yeah. It's not the fact that they're all going dropping nuts on people. They're not.
He didn't mind it one bit.
If I know you talked about Brereton Diaz earlier, mate, we might get a chance if we're promoted, because they are currently 3-0 down to Bournemouth in the first half. Ridiculous. So, wow.
Well, I think I said this, didn't I, to you about Russell Martin. I said it's broad. Well, it reminds me a little bit of the Vinny Company, but without the name Vinny Company attached to it. How he's basically going out there to play a brand of football that his players are nowhere near good enough to do. It's going to cost Southampton their status 100%, because if you're Southampton, you've got to play the percentages and you've got to try and win your personal battles, and that's your best way to win games. You're not trying to play 6 passes across your back line and get swamped and concede goal after goal. But what Russell Martin might be doing is selling Russell Martin and going, look, I'm that kind of coach. This is how I do it. This is how I get my teams to play, which is the modern way. Let's have it right. And maybe he's gearing himself for a bigger job in a year's time, because he won't be at Southampton in a year's time if they go down with a whimper like we did. So
thing is, though, if they've doubt about him, they won't stick with him. He won't be getting offered Bayern Munich, will he? So you've got to be adaptable.
No, I know he's not a bigger name as Vinny Company. I said this to you, but Vinny Company's got that job at Bayern from being a relegated Burnley coach.
I know.
Having
they didn't show any adaptability, weren't able to, didn't have an answer to any tactical problems that were put in front of. Anyway, we are drifting off the subject, and I've got comments to get through. But you're right, though, mate.
Yeah,
you're right. I agree. I think it's a very good point that Russell Martin's working for Russell Martin rather than Southampton, and this is what I can bring to a team. And look, We might be losing 3-0, but we've got 68% possession. Who cares? Score some goals. Keep us up.
Bayern Munich cared, Jim.
They did, mate. They did. Unbelievable. Time to rest O'Hare, says Declan, with it being a 3-game week and play both Brooks and Raksaki with Hamer in the middle. Also, do we tell Sousa to get a book in this game and miss Luton, or risk being booked against Luton and miss Leeds? This is, to be honest, it's the Arblaster question, this for me. If Arblaster is back for Leeds, then I'm all right with Sousa dropping out if he's suspended. So I go with Dave's theory, and I play Sousa this game, and I hope that Sousa don't get booked. And, you know, we roll the dice on that for me.
So what we're saying is, would we be upset about Shackleton playing against his former club?
No,
because they always come back and haunt him. Always.
We won't be upset, mate, but you wouldn't be picking him if everybody's fit, would you?
I know it might be a gamble worth taking, because I always think that the players going back to especially where they've just come from, always play out their skins, don't they? And he's just he feels like that type of lad.
Dave says, evening, Jimmy and all Blades. I'm hoping we can find some goals against Swansea. Me too, pal. I think it's time for Hamer to get time to play in the midfield and put Brooks on the left, see what he can do out there. Evening, Jimmy, says Jim Bob watched the Shore and View vid and was absolute quality. Need 3 points to keep the momentum with Luton coming up. Yeah, absolutely. Gutted it can't be at the Lane tomorrow. Don't be worried about that. It's Wednesday, Ian. So yeah, maybe if you can make it Wednesday, you'll be all right. I'm working in Guernsey this week. Oh, sorry, pal. But hopefully back for Saturday's game. Up the Blades, 2-0 for me on Wednesday. Absolutely right. Spotlight actor Wayne. There's a few different names that Wayne likes to go under. I've seen him mixing it up a little bit. Hi, Jimmy. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Let's get 3 points against Swansea on Wednesday. Evening, lads, says Liam. Hope you're all well. We get maximum points from the home games. We've sorted the defence out. We just need to sort the attack out now. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. It'll come. The attack will come. It's good enough. They are all good enough. It's just, yeah, up the Blades, up the Ramble. You content creators keep me going, says Stephen. Oh, thank you, pal. Appreciate that. And that's for you two boys as well, who are a big part of what we do. Evening, lads, says Bry. Dry Bry, as he's now going to be known. I think we're getting closer to where we want to be. Slight concern is the bookings we're picking up. One or two are getting a bit close to a ban. Sousa and Nell, any views on it? I'm going to come up with another sort of wet joke there, but I won't. I think like Dave says, we keep the momentum going for me. I don't think we need to.
Vinny Trouser.
Yeah, I think we need to trouser 3 points against Swansea, and just to let everybody else in on the joke, because there's a few inside jokes in these. We were at Triple Point last home game, and Brian spilled a full pint all down his trousers, and then was very self-conscious about people thinking he'd soiled himself. But there you go. So cheers for that, Dry Bry. Cannot understand why people are saying Moore will score 15 goals. No chances, John. Don't like to sound negative, but lack of firepower up top will cost us. Interesting. Evening, Jimmy, says Nige. Hope you're well, mate. Evening, fellas. Big game, Swansea, to be honest. Very 50-50 mid-table team, so will be a test, I reckon. Won't be easy. Big game for O'Hare. Yeah, it's similar to the Derby game, those sort of tricky games that you think we should be winning this. But you can't just assume that we're going to win this. You need to turn up on the day. Like you said, Dave, earlier, focus game by game, play our best team, show them the respect. I know some people are saying drop O'Hare. You're not saying it to weaken the team, Paul. You're saying just to sort of try out, and because Brooks tactically might be good against Norton and things. But some people are saying maybe we can afford to drop one of our better players for different reasons. And I don't agree with that take on it. I think we need to give everything we've got to the game in front of us at the minute. Watford at home, you'd say, was the toughest game so far, given where they were in the table, and made them look bang average. That's fair, Scott. Very fair. And yeah, they were toothless, weren't they? And we made them look like that. Dry Brigh's back again. I'm just wondering as well if we're getting close to giving O'Hare a rest. For me, just not quite reaching the heights we want, perhaps nitpicking a bit, but how would we change it in midfield? I think we've covered that palette. And don't want miles behind on comments. I hate being behind because I want everybody to get the comments in. Needs to pick himself up. Might be a bit harsh, but he's dropped off lately. I'm going for a 1-0 win, says Nige. Evening Blazeman back to the lane to give a few teams a hammering up the blades. That'd be nice, sportsman. That would be nice. Take 4 points, says Dublin Blade. Keep our unbeaten run going. Be in the top 6 around Christmas, then use the 2 loan signings for quality forwards like Ipswich did last season. They've got a good striker. They got a good striker in January. Yeah, they did. Action location. Co-president of the Michael Cooper fan club with me was there from day dot saying we need Cooper. We start every game knowing Cooper is worth a point on his own. Best keeper since Tracy and Kelly. Yes, better than Henderson. What a claim that is. What a claim that is. I've gone as far so far to say best permanent keeper to get me out of the Henderson loop since Paddy Kenny. Guess I think that's a fairly safe assessment to make. Would you go any though? Absolutely, it could be. Absolutely.
Well, we haven't made one mistake yet. And I know it's early, not one.
Sums it up when Cooper's on a free kick says... Say again, mate.
I said he looks a bit of a mentality beast in a different sort of way from Endo. That quiet, sort of calm.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Sums it up when Coops on a free kick says he looks at all possible deflections and if he can get to them all in a few seconds, quality. Yeah, he did. And he broke down how he saved that shot just before half time in his interview. Absolutely unreal. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. To be fair, I think Raksaki was very impressive and it was his best performance. They doubled up on him from the get-go and he still ran at them. Yeah, he did. That's true. We can always play Jamie Shack if Blaster and Sousa aren't available, says Jamie. Yep, like Paul said, that's fair. Gilchrist defends as though his life depends on it, says David, and doesn't give you as much going forward, whereas Sariki does, hence the positive change Wilder has made in the later stages of the game. That's fair, but I think that's also balanced out by Raksaki probably being a little bit more attack-minded and tunnel-visioned in that way, and Brooks being a bit more of an all-rounder. So they balance each other out a little bit, and I think it's been good, what we've been doing. I can play it instead of more, says Lee. Oh, come on. Come on, lad. Holly, good evening, pal. Evening, lads. Would rest O'Hara and put Hamer in the 10 and Brooks on the left for me. Up the blades, up the ramble. So you would drop O'Hara as well, Rich. Fair dues. Put Hamer in the 10 and Brooks on the left. Jack says if we rest O'Hare for a game, it could always come into effect the game later. If we needed it, he'll be fresh and can create that momentum. But what if it is a drop in quality, if you're dropping him because you want to rest him for the next game, what if we don't, like Dave says, if we pick up a point against Swansea because we've not played our best 11, it's just a risk I personally wouldn't take. But I can understand why some would. Mel says, did you see Brooks do the rainbow against Portsmouth? Do the rainbow? I've never seen that done ever by a blade and never before seen it performed in the Championship. Great show. Is that where you do the rainbow flick, where it rolls up your calf, you roll it up your calf and flick it over your head? Do you remember that? No.
I can't do it. I know that much.
I didn't see him do it, Mel, but it doesn't surprise me that he's got it in his locker. Might need to try 2 up front. We need strikers to start scoring, says GT. I've talked about this a little bit. When he's making the changes mid-game and Brewster's coming on for O'Hare, I don't understand why Brewster's going into the 10. And, it's fine if he's been playing there in training and if that's part of the bigger plan, but it feels like a square peg in a round hole when you could go 2 up top. So I don't know why we're not doing more of that where it's, if you want a 10, then bring Brooks on or whoever it might be and put Hamer in the 10 if Hamer's staying on the field. Don't put Brewster in the 10 when O'Hare's coming off, if that makes sense to you. I would prefer to go 2 up top when a striker's coming on for O'Hare, if you like. So if Ty Campbell's coming on, I don't want him in the 10. I want him in his most effective position, which is likely in a 2 up front. He might be able to play left. I don't know the lad enough, but I know he's not a 10 by trade, which O'Hare is, and I think Gus is best utilised as. Any thoughts on us not being that fluid, lads, with the substitutions when they're coming on?
I think we need a 10. I think with 2 deep lying midfielders, I think we leave too big a gap if we go 2 up top. So I would put someone more suitable for a 10 into the 10 rather than 2 up top.
Okay. So you'd maybe move Hamer across if you're taking O'Hare off, you move Hamer across and bring a Yeah, a Brooks on, for example. Okay.
I think everybody gets a bit too obsessed with this, and in that I believe that start positions and what it looks like when you're looking at it. But there should be two shapes: one out of possession, one in possession, and I think that naturally Brewster would join in up top more, even if he was asked to sort of play slightly behind the forward, because what you want is people moving into spaces, don't you? Effectively, and I don't think it's necessarily. It has to be as wooden as we have to have a 10 or we have to have a striker. I think, like you say, it should be a little bit more fluid in terms of the movement of the players. And I think that usually they play with 3 or 4, don't they? When they press, they step onto all the back line anyway. So I think it's era there. It looks nice on a graphic, but I think they probably have 2 different shapes for each thing, and it depends what you're up against as well. It depends. If there's big pockets of space in there, you want Gus to drop in there, wouldn't you? If you're taking O'Hare off.
I always like a 10 anyway, because if you've got a 9 and a 10 behind, then what does centre defence have to do? One of them has to come further forward and leave a gap, don't they? So I always like that sort of disrupting the back line of the opposition. Mr. V coming in, top commenter according to PNUK, our statistician. Number 1 commenter on all the Ramble videos, Mr. V. Top Rambler. What can we say? Brilliant, pal. Like Kenneth so eloquently put it on the Shore and View earlier, more is like Marmite. I don't get why. I honestly think you're right. I think people either really like him or really don't, but I think most appreciate him. I think it's a minority that are having a little dig at Kiefer Moore, to be honest. I'd like to think so anyway. The big eye-opener was when Raksaki ran through 2 of them, then ran into the box and passed it and no one was there. They don't seem to know where to be. Claire says, Bulgarian Blade, good evening, lads. Hope to see you on Wednesday. Oh, brilliant. If you're back, yeah, fantastic. We'll try and get into Triple Point for a pre-match pint. I don't think Paul will be able to make it on Wednesday because you're geographically challenged, aren't you, pal? And then...
I'll be there Saturday, mate. I'll be there Saturday.
You'll be there Saturday. Top man. But cool. Dave the Nose... Are you at Triple Point on Wednesday? Top man.
I'll be there for both.
Yeah, and Dry Bry will be there, I'm sure, as well. So we'll have a pint on him. Hey.
Whoops!
Oh, I quite like that one. I quite like that. I like Sousa, but was very, very disappointed when I saw him throw punches in the bust up at the Pompey end. Yeah. Hi, Jimmy. Cracking show. Up the Blades. Up the Ramble. Takeover. I don't know. Sorry I'm late to the show, guys, so maybe off topic, but anything on this illustrious takeover? Not yet, but I'm expecting some sort of communication imminently. Sorry, I'm just looking at next comment. That were pants, Jimmy, from Drag Right.
Old soggy knickers answering us back now. Look at that.
I would like to see us put Brooks on the left, says Jake, and Gus in the middle next to Peck and rest Sousa. 1 yellow away from suspension. Need him for Luton. He did absolutely boss Luton last time we played him. So maybe there's method to that madness, but I'm still on the boat that we play our strongest team. I just want to, before we go, I want to say thank you to everybody, and I'm trying to find it again now because I'm not very quick with this mouse. It's too sensitive. To say thank you to everybody that's voted for us so far in the Best Podcast Football League for the Football Content Awards. I believe that votes are still open if you want to go and nominate us or give us your vote for that category. Thank you to everyone that has so far. We have been the 3 Mardy Blades. And before we do go, and I don't mean to sort of make the mood quite somber, but I just want to know, Bobby, to know that we're all thinking about you, pal. Bobby's going through a tough time at the moment, one of our Ramblers, part of the Ramble family. And I'm not going to elaborate on that because it's his private business, but we are all thinking about you, pal. And if you need an ear, we're all here, individually, collectively. Stay strong, pal, and all the best to you and the family. So we have been the 3 Mardy Blades, and this is some of the conversation that you can have if you want to become part of our Ramble team, if you like, whatever you want to call it. If you want to become a Rambler and join us on Patreon. If not, that's absolutely fine. We appreciate everybody that follows us, whether it's subscribing, whether it's liking a video, whether it's anything that you do at all. And we all hope for a positive result on Wednesday night. I'll quickly go around and get score predictions. First man Mountain, what are you going for?
2-1. A 2-1 home win.
2-1 home win. Dave the Nose?
1-0 United.
And I'll go 2-0 United. Kiefer Moore to get one. Get on the score sheet. Why not? So let us know what your thoughts are below. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
What the Blades!